Hello. It is Saturday, June 7th, 2014, as I'm filming this. Actually, I'm not filming it, I'm recording audio, as this is going to be an audio-only video due to technical and time constraints that I've covered in a recent video. And I'm running out of time before E3 2014. If you're familiar with my channel, I usually make a lot of videos leading up to E3, especially back in 2012 when I was doing Operation Blue Wave, which I still thank you very much for your participation and enthusiasm for, which continues to inspire me to this day. But I really haven't had time to talk about a lot of Nintendo news and gaming news in general. For my plans for E3, I think is going to be the focus of this video. I'm going to go to the Nintendo World Store as I have in 2006 and in every year since 2010. This may be the last chance I get to do so because I may be moving across country. I may not be, I don't know. But I have purchased my train ticket today, and I look forward to the trip, and I look forward to seeing a lot of people, especially all my friends at Street Pass NYC, who it's a little expensive for me to get out into the five boroughs for a lot of their meetups, so I don't get to see them all that often. Usually E3 and maybe one or two other things each year is the only time I get to see a lot of those folks, which is you know, so it's going to be great to seeing all those people. And the atmosphere at Nintendo's E3s has generally been pretty good. I could comment a bit about last year's. I'll do that in a separate video, but it's ultimately been worth it by far for me to be able to go out there, and I really do believe that being a big uh, thing like the Nintendo World Store's viewing parties has been probably the next best thing for a fan to being in an actual theater where they're doing a live press conference. But last year and this year they haven't done a press conference, so it's just a lot of fun. The only thing I can imagine that could possibly be better is I know a couple, at least last year, I believe Sony had a few movie theaters across the country where you could request a free ticket on their website and see a live stream of Sony's PlayStation E3 media presentation in a movie theater, which must be a blast. But at the same time, I can imagine that it's kind of an obscure-ish kind of thing, so I imagine that not that many people. It might be maybe a dozen people at each of them, except for like a big one like in the city. But yeah, usually Nintendo World Store is pretty much the top floor is nearly full to capacity in the last couple of years I've been there. I think last year was the biggest event they'd had there. So I do look forward to being there for that. And I know a couple of days ago, Nintendo World Store's official Twitter account kind of dropped a hi person who's running that. If you happen to be watching this, I know a couple of people who have run that feed. Been kind of friendly with them, and I know they've checked out my channel in the past. Um, they announced that they're going to have a private viewing party for the Nintendo's renting out the Kodak Theater for E3 to do the Smash Brothers Invitational Tournament, and they're going to have a private viewing party for it for I believe the first 75 people who line up at 6 p.m. I believe the night at Nintendo World on Monday night, which is the night most of the all the E3 stage show presentations from the major companies I believe are going to be on Monday, which is the day before this show floor opens. And they announced that they're going to have, you line up for tickets, first come, first serve for 75 people. I believe the tickets are free, and you could get in for a private viewing party the next evening, which is going to be the Nintendo's digital event is going to be early. It's going to be 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think it's going to be like 9 or 10 or something at Los Angeles time, where the E3 is actually taking place. And they're going to have a private viewing party that evening, which is going to be a blast, I'm sure. There's never really been anything like this at Nintendo World. I mean, there's really never. This is probably the biggest Nintendo tournament thing run by them since the days of the Nintendo World Championships back in the NES days. I know they had Super Nintendo ones, but the Nintendo World Championships are the ones that are really legendary. Um, I was around back then, but I wasn't around, able to really follow it closely. and I believe the tournaments were actually based on the tournament scene and the climax of the Ben Savage flick The Wizard, which was basically a giant Nintendo commercial. And of course, the last game they showed was Super Mario Brothers 3, and that was the first time really anyone in North America had really even heard of the game existing, so it was a pretty big deal. Yeah, this is the biggest Nintendo tournament I could think of since then, and it's the first time, and it's really going to be exciting because they're after a lot of ignoring the Smash Brothers community or arguably deliberately designing Brawl to sabotage the competitive Smash scene. For them to be embracing well-known competitive Smash players, to invite them to give the new Smash Brothers for Wii U a whirl is a really exciting move from Nintendo. It shows that they're listening to their fan base and don't just have their heads in the sand, trying to force people to play games or only be enthusiastic about games in the way Nintendo wants them to be. But it's going to be a big event regardless, and I can never really thought of any. I don't think there's ever been any actual tournament attached to E3 that I really know of that's going to be as big a deal as this Smash Brothers Invitational. So there's going to be a private viewing party for that. I know it's going to be a blast. But I really can't afford 2 train tickets to go there the day before to try to get tickets to go and then take the train back out there again on Tuesday. And really, I mean, I played Melee with my brother back in the day, and I played Brawl once or twice at my friend's house for parties. But I'm not that hardcore into Smash Brothers. I know there are a lot of hardcore Smashers that I know that go out to Nintendo World for all their events and stuff. And honestly, so there's someone out there who deserves that ticket a lot more than I do. So I'm not going to even try to attend the Smash Brothers Invitational viewing party. I'm probably going to go home. Probably going to go home kind of early-ish. I don't know what time the tournament actually is. I think it starts 7 or something is when the viewing party starts. So I think it's going to be 7-ish. So I'm going to head home and I'll try to get home in time to maybe get home and maybe splurge on the luxury of some delivery pizza or something, or maybe even just a frozen pizza, and enjoy the tournament at home. I mean, I'm not a hardcore Smash player, but I'm certainly going to enjoy the energy and the of that. And so that's my plans for Smash Brothers and for the Nintendo Digital event at the Nintendo World Store. Now, what I hope now last year was really rough because Nintendo had a Nintendo Direct for their E3, their main E3 presentation, their main event in which they showcased the news to the public was not a stage show press conference as is traditionally, but through a Nintendo Direct. And for some reason, Nintendo apparently did not anticipate there being. I mean, it was a normal Nintendo Directs lag sometimes, but the E3 Nintendo Direct was like there was so much traffic and so much lag that it literally ruined the announcement for Super Mario 3D World. And we barely saw the announcement for Super Smash Brothers for Wii U and 3DS. We missed a lot of sections of the Nintendo Direct, and it sucks because everyone's so excited. Every time it lags for even a second, everyone's just like, "Oh!" And then everyone has to have to hush everyone down so that we could hear once it starts back up. And it was a real bummer because E3 2006 they had a satellite feed to the Kodak Theater, and because back then, I mean, it was only like 8 years ago, but online streaming wasn't like it was even today, so they had to have a satellite feed. 2000, what was the year they started doing it again in Central World? 2010, they did it. There were a few moments where they lagged for a few seconds, but it wasn't so bad. 2010 and 11 were pretty all right. 2012, there was some lag. It was a little worse, but 2013, it was really bad. It almost made the press conference unwatchable for not only in the Nintendo World Store, but for everyone watching at out online. Because if you watch people's live reaction videos, there's a lot of lag going on. I hope Nintendo gets their act together and makes sure that there's not lag on the stream. I believe they're using Twitch to stream the Nintendo Digital event, and I hope it works very well. I hope there's not as little lag as possible because they're showing pretty much what's going to be I think the most anticipated Zelda Zelda reveal since Skyward Sword. And Skyward Sword, the reveal didn't go as well as it could have because, the art style wasn't what people were expecting, even though, in my opinion, the art style for Skyward Sword was basically better than what it would have been if they just tried to spruce up. Basically, if they went with the Twilight Princess style and spruced up very slightly, it would not have aged very well in standard definition on with the Wii's limited graphic capabilities, especially compared to all the HD games like Skyrim that it was directly being compared to. But I don't think Skyward Sword's art style. Anyway, my point is I'm rambling a bit, but the Skyward Sword reveal was a bit of a letdown, especially with the technical problems it had during the stage demo. People saw the Zelda HD demo at E3 2011, and they got really excited. And this is pretty much people are expecting E3 2004 Skyward Twilight Princess reveal levels of hype. I don't think that's going to happen. It's not going to genuinely happen. People might get really excited just because that excitement from E3 2004 left such expectations that it gets kind of infectious. But E3 2004's Twilight Princess reveal was a unique event. Those were unique circumstances going back to 2000 when they revealed the Zelda GameCube tech demo, and then in 2001 when they revealed the Wind Waker first trailer that was so outrageous and controversial at the time, and people were really pissed and angry. And even when Wind Waker came out, and people were like, "Okay, it wasn't so bad. We're wrong for being pissed." But when they did show Twilight Princess for the first time, people weren't expecting it, and it was a huge, huge earthquake of excitement and hype. I don't think that could happen again, but basically a lot of Wii U's future, if Nintendo's able to salvage this and pull a good, 20 or 30 million units out of the system, depends on the Zelda reveal being a big deal. There's possibility for Metroid, and I'm really excited for that. So those are my plans for E3 in terms of going to Nintendo World and all that. And thanks for watching.